Hello, stolen cousins. Oh, let's get right into it. Y'all know what it is, right? Horror animations. We're gonna do some SSG, right? Like, comment, and subscribe. Sorry, that was a brain fart. My brain just went blank. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Join my stolen family. If you get stolen here, you're a stolen cousin. So we're cousins, and I'm your big cousin now. Period. No matter how old you are, I'm your big cousin now. Meaning I will protect you and love you and cherish you. So yes, let's get things going. And I hope you enjoy this time with me. Please subscribe.
My name is Alan. I'm 29 years old, and I work in customer service in a call center.
Mm.
My job is to make sure that all the customers have internet signal, since they call us every time it fails. I'll be honest, the signal my company sells is terrible, so we get a lot of calls every day. When I started working here 2 years ago, I didn't care about the days off or the hours. I just needed the money. Not only did I agree to work weekends, which is when they pay the most, but I also offered to work the night shift, since I would have to be paid for night hours.
Yeah.
When I started, I was really comfortable, no matter what time I worked. I knew that a lot of people would call in to complain, but obviously, there would be fewer people on the night shift. Also, many calls on the night shift during the weekend were just prank calls from bored teenagers, or others who maybe had one too many beers and forgot to turn on the internet or their cell phone. All in all, I was having a good time. I was having a lot of fun in the job. Everything was going perfectly, until one day ruined everything. We usually leave at 11 p.m., and since it was a Friday, I couldn't wait to leave. But a few minutes before the scheduled time, the computer phone rang. On the other side of the phone was an elderly man. In these cases, we can't hang up the phone until the consultation is over, so I couldn't leave. That phone call lasted more than half an hour, and I was just furious inside. By the time I finished shutting down the system, the lights were already out, and my colleagues had already left. I left my office with total indifference, even somewhat content that I was finally leaving, when I noticed a strange smell. It was like a burning smell, but there was no smoke. Normally, I would investigate for the source of the smell, but I immediately sensed that something was wrong. Aside from the smell, I felt a pressure all over my body.
So you
Something
got
in the
there?
atmosphere was wrong. My body started to feel weak, as if something was making me sick little by little. The only thing I knew was that I wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. I couldn't stay in that place a minute longer. I walked through the company's warehouse road to the elevator that led to the parking lot, but something caught my attention halfway through. The elevator was open, and its lights were on. I thought that surely someone had called it and suddenly opted for the stairs, but this idea quickly disappeared as I approached a little closer. A strange figure inside the elevator peered out of the corner, just staring at me. The man could not hide his whole body, but still, he did not give up and watched me as if I did not see him. He was naked and clearly had some mental deficiency, so I made the safest decision and headed for the warehouse's employee's office. I wasn't sure if there was any of them left, but they usually stay a few minutes longer, and I needed someone to accompany me to the parking lot. But halfway through, a light caught my attention. The smell that was making me sick before became much stronger. Even though I was scared of that man in the elevator, at no time could I stop thinking the atmosphere was becoming more and more oppressive. It was like being trapped inside a nightmare that was consuming me second by second. My whole body was screaming for me to immediately get away from that source of light. But I really had nowhere to go. And to be honest, my brain rejected those unjustified sensations that my body was feeling, just to understand what was making me feel so bad. As I looked out, I could see about 10 people, 3 of whom I recognized as warehouse employees. They were dressed very exaggeratedly and were dancing and laughing in front of the decapitated head of a chicken. At the side, 2 men were naked with drawings all over their bodies. They stared at each other, touching their faces and imitating their movements as if they were different sides of the same mirror. When I saw this, fear took over my body and my blood froze. I'm not religious, nor do I believe in satanic possessions or spells, but there is something I do believe in. Those warehouse employees were known to be very violent. Several of them had a reputation for getting into fights just for fun and threatening anyone who passed by, and I was sure that none of them would appreciate my presence in that place.
At all.
I wanted to quickly head for the exit and pretend I hadn't seen anything, but my muscles were so tense that I couldn't help stomping on a shelf. I couldn't handle the fear and desperately ran to the elevator. Already in the safety of the lights and the background music of that small space, I quickly pressed the parking button, but the doors would not close. A hand was stopping the elevator, and a face was peeking over the door.
Ew! Punch her!
To my absolute petrification, the person from before, a middle-aged, ill-groomed man, was standing in front of me, just staring blankly at my face. Before I could react,
Made my
he
eyebrow
began to
itch.
spit on me while laughing out loud. My
That's
only reaction
nasty.
was to curl up on the floor and scream my lungs out.
What?
I felt pain in all my articulations, and my eyes hurt from pressing them so hard. I was at the mercy of whatever happened to me. Suddenly,
You just
the
gave
laughter
yourself
abruptly
up.
stopped and changed to screams, while the maniac began to kick the side of the elevator full of hatred and violence. In an act of bravery, I jumped for the button that closed the door. As the doors closed and my attacker walked away in boredom, I could see in the distance two eyes that I could not distinguish staring at my position. I couldn't make out who it was, but by the light from the elevator, the person certainly saw me. Was it one of the
That's crazy.
strangers or a member of the warehouse? If it was one of the latter, would they have recognized me? All these questions flooded my thoughts. I just ran to my car and accelerated. After that, nothing was the same.
Quit.
Every workday, I could see the warehouse guys constantly peering through the big window that overlooked our office. I can swear that they watched me much more than the rest of my colleagues, and that sooner or later, they were going to do something to me. But I admit that I was paranoid, and that maybe they didn't pay more attention to me than the rest. Maybe they even always looked at us like that. A few days later, I started to pack my bags to move and never come back. But I realized a message on my doorstep that froze my body. The message said that if I ever left that job, me and my whole family would disappear. Those few words were enough to scare me to death. I decided it was too dangerous to leave. I didn't know what these people were capable of, so I just asked to move to the morning shift. At first, I thought this would make them angry, but when I didn't receive any other messages, I thought not. To this day, I still wonder why they didn't let me leave. I guess maybe they wanted to keep me around to control me, or maybe they have some plan to hurt me when the time is right. The only thing I know is that the best thing I can do is to stay quiet and not talk about this with anyone, as I don't know if a friendly partner I can tell is really one of them hiding.
You told us.
Hey, this is Joe. I'm a
Hey,
computer
Joe.
engineer. I'm 35 years old. Today I'm going to tell you a terrible true horror story which took place 7 years ago. There was a close friend of mine. His name was Harris. He was my colleague also. Both of us had jobs in a very big company in the city. He married his beautiful girlfriend named Eva. She was charming, tall, and intelligent. I'm also married, and I have 2 kids now. 7 years ago, while in the office, he seemed worried for a couple days. Whenever I asked him anything, he used to avoid it. I got angry with him when he told me something. He said, "Harris, man, nowadays, my wife gets really angry with me, even for small things. Whenever I try to explain something to her, she doesn't understand me at all. The relationship is not going well. What should I do, man?" Hey, look, dude, no solution will come out of fighting and arguing. Whatever's the matter, take time and solve it with a calm mind. Please don't make any brash decisions, and definitely don't do it in anger. You'll be sorry later. Be calm and explain things as best you can. If possible, I'll talk to my sister-in-law. I tried my best to end the situation between them, but the quarrel was getting worse. I used to talk to Eva on the phone sometimes, I used to try to solve the problems going on.
I'm talking to
Those
your sister.
days, all we engineers had a huge workload, so we were doing night shifts in the office. But Harris wasn't interested in night shifts. One day, Harris came into the office. "Hey dude, I think I'm gonna try the night shift today. I don't even want to stay home now, even at night. Life is stressful. I think it's better for me to just stay busy with work." I agreed with him I would do the night shift also that night because he was a good friend of mine. One day, Eva called. I received it. She said, "Harris has become very suspicious and possessive. He keeps a close watch on me and is not allowing me to do any of my jobs. I'm completely fed up with him. I think I'm going to divorce him soon." I was so sad for them. For a few days, he was doing extraordinary things, such as drinking water from the water bottle. I didn't even know where he kept that bottle. He even started forgetting a few things. He repeatedly said his wife had cheated on him. She was secretly starting to talk to someone on the phone, and sometimes even going to meet him. After a few days in the office on the night shift, I don't know what happened to Harris that day. He was repeatedly pointing towards the window. "Dude, there's a girl wearing a black dress standing there, staring at me for a long time. Do you see her?" "Harris, what are you talking about? No one's there." "Look at her, bro, right there. That girl's no ordinary girl. There's red little spots on her face. I think I can see bones visible. She's a long, creepy-looking black tongue." "Dude, there's nothing, man. It's the night shift, bro. You're starting to see things. Just calm down." That same night when I was thirsty at 3:30, I went to fill my water bottle and also went to the bathroom to just clear up a bit. I washed my face, and while washing my face, I saw someone's shadow in the mirror. I was terrified to see that. As I looked back, no one was there, but I felt like a woman was standing there. There was a colleague named George in our office. He was nice and a hard-working person. He also came on time, but one day, he was nowhere to be seen. There's a small storage room on the floor below our office. I saw Harris coming out of that room. When I asked about it, he didn't say anything. So the next night, when I asked Harris about Eva, Harris said she'd gone to her maternal home for a few days. Harris was repeatedly going to that garage room. I also secretly thought of going there to find out what was going on. And when I went there, I was shocked and numb after seeing the scene. I saw it was my colleague George. Someone had pierced his stomach with a sharp piece of wood that went through and through. There was blood all over the wall. I understood that Harris probably did something wrong. Just as I was about to call the police, he came over there and snatched my phone and broke it. "Joe, what are you doing? You okay?" Yeah, I was just calling my wife."
"I'm good. Are you good, bro?"
"Oh, you saw his dead body? He's gone. I know you were about to call the police, and you too are unfaithful, like my wife."
"Who's unfaithful?"
"My wife is not in the house for 2 days now. She must have ran away with her lover." "Please, man, you know me. Just leave me, Harris. I'm your best friend, man. I won't tell anybody." "You know why I killed George? Because he was having the affair with my wife." "I think you must have had an affair with my wife too. That's why you support her, isn't it?"
"You are so... Oh, he's trying to stab you."
I grabbed his wrist and tried to wrestle the knife out of his hands.
Ooh.
There was lots of fighting. Eventually, I pushed him back and started to run away. I ran and went to the security guard. "Hey, what happened?" "Call the police, please."
Damn, sliced you up.
Harris came and stabbed the security guard's chest with a knife.
Ooh.
He died on the spot.
He in the chest? You ain't see him?
I started running towards the road. He was following me. Suddenly, I heard a sound from behind me. That sound was Harris shouting or screaming in pain. "Ah! I'll kill you!" He was talking to himself. It was as if he was fighting with himself. Suddenly, he stabbed himself in the chest with the knife which he had. That scene is still in my mind. It was unsettling.
What the hell happened, Harris?
Completely numb. Why would he do that? Who would do that? I was going to get the answer later. I was so scared that I fainted after that. When I regained consciousness, I came to realize that Harris had died. Hearing the truth, I was completely blown away. The policeman said. When we searched Harris's whole house, we found his wife's body there.
Damn.
Her body was 2 days gone. He had killed her. He had amnesia. He didn't remember that his wife had died earlier. I also told the whole thing to the police, which happened during the night shift. Officer, why did he kill his wife? Well, according to the post-mortem report, his wife's death was an accident. They also checked the video recordings of Harris's house. We found that both of them fought about something. Then Harris got really angry and pushed his wife in anger near the basement. Because the basement door was open that day, she fell down the stairs, and then he left. Due to his amnesia, he couldn't remember that he killed his wife. But I didn't believe Harris could ever do something like that. He never told me about his illness and why he stabbed himself that night. I still don't understand it. And I think it must be the soul of his wife who was doing so. Sometimes, I wish I would never have done the night shift and that horrible incident wouldn't happen to me. But I'm a firm believer that whatever happens, happens for a reason. Hello, my name's Ron. I may seem like just another lonely and bitter old man in a wheelchair, but back in my youth, things were different. It wasn't until that terrible night that I began my...
Love that saying, because old people love saying that. Back in my youth, I was I would have had jaw running.
I may seem like just another lonely and bitter old man in a wheelchair, but back in my youth, things were different. It wasn't until that terrible night that I began my downward spiral, turning me into what you see now. Looking back, I can see my life was perfect when I was 27. I had that never-ending energy reserved only for the young. I was bursting with potential. I didn't have any responsibilities to tie me down. And most importantly, I had a job that I enjoyed with the National Park Service. It kept me outdoors, active, and helping others. I was fulfilled. I was happy. I worked as a park ranger in Zion National Park. The job was fantastic and everything I could have wanted. I spent my days outdoors in the park, helping visitors, guiding groups, and ensuring the rules and regulations were being followed. Even after years on the job, I never grew tired of Utah sunsets over the mountain ranges. I worked in paradise. Everything began to change one evening when my supervisor caught up to me as I was going home for the day. I had put on my jacket, grabbed my keys, and was exiting the door out of the office. My name's Ron. When Roland, my supervisor, my name's Ron. I may seem like just another lonely and bitter old man in a wheelchair. Roland, but back in my youth, slightly out of things were different towards me. It wasn't until you haven't left terrible night that I began my downward spiral. Another lonely when Roland, my supervisor, grabbed my caught up to me as I was going home for the day. I had put on my jacket, grabbed my keys, and was exiting the door out of the office. My name's Ron. When Roland, my supervisor, my name's Ron. I may seem like Ron.
Might have to end that video short, only because it started messing up weird in my headphones. But it's alright. We'll fix that next time, guys. Have a great day. Thank you for joining me. Bye.